What is government going to do? And maybe again Nick can come in there to give us some of the examples. But what is government going to do, Uganda, to ensure that there is some access to affordable finance?
And I think the affordable finance is a challenge, not only in oil and gas, but across the sector and all other sectors. And government needs to do specific interventions. Like how we've learned from our brothers in Nigeria, we realized there was a need for a local content fund to come in place. And government started doing the framework for putting up the local content fund. The policy was drafted.
Hello, welcome to yet another episode of You and the Law, the COVID edition, here on House of Talent Television. This show is proudly brought to you by Legal Hub Uganda in partnership with I4C Africa Hub. You and the Law is simply what it states. You and the Law, we explain the relationship between human beings, between us people, and the law, because the law guides every aspect of our lives. This particular edition of You and the Law is dedicated to COVID-19. How has COVID-19 affected our human rights? Over the last episodes, we've tackled different human rights that have been affected by the pandemic. Today, we look at children. How has COVID-19 affected children's rights in Uganda? What are the issues that are emerging because of COVID-19 as far as children are concerned? What do we need to do to protect children in these hard times? With me in studio is Ms. Sarah Awelo, the lead counsel for GBV at the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. Sarah, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm doing fine. Well, COVID gave me some rest.
Yes. And in terms of work, because I know a lot of things have changed over the years, how has it affected your work life?
A lot of things have changed. Yes, sometimes you work from home, but being legal, it is hard to fully work from home. So you have court, home, in between. Sometimes you're torn. Is it today we are going to have court online, or we are going to stay from? Then it's hard to meet your clients. You just see them via the video link.
Yeah, it's a crazy time, but hopefully things will normalize. You come from UCLF, the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. Perhaps for a person who could be hearing this for the first time, you could give us a little bit of more information about the organization that you work for.
Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity is a membership organization. It's a legal aid. We provide legal aid to people who could not afford money or any amount of money, especially family, land matters. We also provide legal aid to the children, juvenile justice. So we have all that. Then we also handle GBV, gender-based violence programs, mainly in Kayunga. Yes, so we are those places.
So your services are completely free?
Our services are free.
Oh, interesting. And in terms of the name of the organization, the Christian aspect of it, and somebody could be tempted to ask, are your services restricted to only a particular group of people who subscribe to a particular faith, or it's open?
No. We handle everyone. Everyone. You see, everyone is a child of God. So we handle everyone as a child of God.
Yes.
We believe we are missionaries, and we are doing that by working, helping people in the legal in a legal way. So for us, maybe we may not stand on the street every day to preach, but we shall go to court. We shall fight for people's rights every day.
Okay.
Yes, that's how we shall preach.
I think it's an interesting approach, to missionary work by providing an actual service. And so today we're talking about COVID-19 and how it has affected our lives, and we're specifically having conversation around children. But perhaps before we delve into much detail, we could try to understand from you, before we even talk about the law, what is this whole idea of children's rights? Why do they matter? Why should somebody lose sleep over rights of children? What's the value of children's rights?
You see, children are, all of us were once children. And children, let's say it's the future of the nation. Okay, that's how it is sung. Children are the future of the nation. But how do we build a nation with broken children? So we need to protect these children so that we have a strong nation, we have a better future. I think that's why the rights of children have to be protected so that we may have a better nation in future. Yes.
So children represent, a
nation.
The nation and from a futuristic, I think it's a very interesting angle to this. But then now we move to talk about children's rights. As you've explained, children are the future of the nation and we should protect them. Is there a law that provides for that, or is that just your wishful thinking? Where do we derive the mandate to talk about children's rights?
The rights of children are protected by our constitution, the 1995 constitution as amended. Then we have the Children's Act. Then there are those conventions, the international conventions that Uganda decided to sign and be a part of. We have the 1985 UN Convention on the Rights of Children, and then the 1990 African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. So all that are some of the laws that protect children that Uganda ascribes to.
Okay, but in terms of then what exactly do they actually provide for? Like, what are those rights? If you do tell a random person that these are children's rights, what could be examples that we can share?
Well, they have a right to live with their parents or guardians. They have a right to education, a right to practice the religion they know, a right to, yes.
Very important for UCLF.
Yes, very important. A right to shelter, to medication. They have their rights. Yes.
So, but then if you move further and talk about those rights, whose duty is it to provide them? Because, there's been a lot of conversations around, in Africa, parenting children is a societal issue, but then you're discussing it from a human rights angle. So who bears the obligation to ensure that actually these rights are protected?
See, in Africa, the children are for the whole village, but okay, currently it's changing. Those days it used to be, I think, the days of our parents, but currently, who protects the children apart from their parents? Sometimes even the relatives do not protect them. So we have also the welfare officer, like the government decides to put in place institutions to protect them. For example, the Secretary for Children's Welfare in the local council. We have also the Family and Children's Court, where we could run to when their rights are being infringed on. We have the probation and social welfare officers. We have the district probation and social welfare officers. We have all those people to protect. But really it is each of us, all of us as individuals, even the children themselves, they should protect their own rights.
Some people argue that children's rights fall under the broad category of human rights. I mean, there's sort of a subcategory of human rights, and there's this talk about you need to respect, protect, fulfill these rights, which is put on the state. I don't know from your experience working this, what does actually respecting children's rights mean from the angle of the government?
Let's say the right to live with your parents. What should the government do to help children to make sure that that right is respected? Parents, one thing government should also do is help the parents have income or have something to provide for these children. Because when they start saying then we have a right to be given proper food, right to clothing, we have medical care and a home, if the parents are sleeping on the streets, then how will these rights be given to them? So I think with the government, it has to start with the parents. The parents should be given the ability or should
conducive environment.
A conducive environment to provide and protect the rights of these children.
Okay. And then in terms of the fulfilling this right, some people argue that it's important to have laws, policies in place. I wonder how Uganda is doing in that context, if you, from your experience as a child rights advocate.
Well, we have very good laws. Yes.
On children issues?
On children's issues,
Okay,
we have.
run us through them. Run us through them.
We have the Constitution, the Children's Act. What they give us very good laws. What the rights of children, the obligation, how to ensure that they have proper health, education, mental, physical, and moral development. And our issue is implementing those laws, and then also do people know those laws. Right now we are talking about the laws, and we are here in Kampala with an upper class talking about it. But what about that mother in Kayunga who has all those issues? She has no idea, maybe even that the children have rights. You know? For her, her work is to see them live every day. I got a saying in my work with the people in Kayunga when they said that children grow anyway. Somehow they will grow.
They will
grow.
Yes.
It's hard. Even our crops don't just grow. You have to weed.
Yes.
What? Yeah, but you see, to them that's their belief. Somehow they will grow.
You've mentioned about the Constitution and talked about the Children's Act. Perhaps we could spend a bit of more time understanding the Children's Act and sort of its provisions on children's rights. What are the salient features that we can, talk about if you're to, tell a random person about this children's rights from the angle of that act?
From the angle of the act, a child is a person like below the age of 18.
Oh, by the way, we forgot even to understand that, yes.
A child is a person from that age of 18. And then children's rights mean the basic needs that a child must have to ensure his or her proper growth and development. I look at it, proper growth and development.
Proper growth and development.
It's relative. That's relative. Because and a child will say, for me to have proper growth and development, I need Cerelac. The other one will get up and go to a mango tree and look for those small mangoes that have even not yet. So it's relative. And it's even under the act we say, they have their obligations. So sometimes we go so much on their rights.
Yes.
But see, they also have an obligation. But like they said, obligation for them to go to school and be obedient while at school. But a child to go to school on an empty stomach, unless he or she knows that at school they're going to give me something to eat.
Some porridge.
Some porridge. So that one, it will be easy for the child to fulfill that obligation. But just sending the child to school, and the child knows there's nothing for me to eat. We'll pass by the gardens, people's homes, look for mangoes. By the time they reach school, it is midday.
Yes.
And then they get back.
Yeah.
So we have under the Children's Act those very good laws, the rights, the obligations, but also we have the buts. But
yes, there's always a but somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's then switch gears because we're discussing children's rights, but specifically in the context of COVID-19, which came and really, forced our government to do so many things, and most of them really had a bearing on children's rights. So I'll sort of start from that point. When you assess, when COVID-19 came, what are those actions that government of Uganda took generally, and then perhaps later we can discuss how those affected children's rights?
When COVID-19 came, I know the government was trying to protect its citizens, that's its work. Then it closed schools, it closed places of worship, and then there were no places of leisure, were also closed. And it brought all that. It was good. They wanted to protect everyone from COVID-19, prevent death, that's their work. And it has gone on. It's now 2 years. It's 2 years. For a child who has always gone to church every Sunday or been taken to the mosque.
I can notice your interest in church.
See, and then all of a sudden there's no going anywhere. They are stuck on the let's say, the four walls.
Yes.
Inside the house, inside the gate, or within the compound. And then they cannot go swimming, they cannot go moving around with their friends, roaming. Okay, let me put in the village.
Playing
sense,
even.
Playing.
Yeah.
You see, going to the other neighbor. This where it has brought a lot of
problems.
Mental.
Let's go for a quick break at this point, and perhaps when we return back, we'll have a deeper conversation around the effects of COVID-19 on children. You're watching You and the Law, the COVID edition here on House of Talent Television. Today, we're discussing COVID-19 and how it has affected children's life. Right. Let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back. In one-bedroom houses,
Yes.
and have nothing to look except their, iron sheets.
Yeah, sure.
And really, you're, our first guest really on this program, and why do you think it's, sort of important for people to just know about the law? Because I know you've been teaching law and practicing law for all these years. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you. When it comes to the law, we basically live the law, on a day-to-day basis. Whether it is in your bedroom, there is a law that governs it. If you're married, for example, even if you're single, there could be something touching on the law, because you might be in your bedroom with an underage girl, or you might be with another person's wife. All the things are the law. When you jump on a border, there is law. When you're driving, we're talking about traffic. If you go to a restaurant, you must ensure that you have the money, because you're consuming someone's energy and investment. So you must be able to pay for that. So we interact with the law at all times.
It's part of our everyday life.
Yes.
Man, you don't want to be in trouble after many years of working hard on it to realize that you have no rights at all, simply because you didn't celebrate any of the marriages that are recognized within the laws of Uganda. With that, we come to the end of this edition of You and the Law. It's a bye from us. See you next time.
And the right to food.
Yes. That's an interesting one, because I remember in the first lockdown, people were like, I'd rather die of COVID than die of hunger in my house.
Yeah.
Tell us. Welcome back. This is You and the Law, the COVID edition, here on House of Talent Television. My name is Jonathan Ochom, your host. Today we're discussing COVID-19 and how it has affected children's rights. And with me in studio is Ms. Sarah Awelo from the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, popularly known as UCLF, at least among the lawyers. So Sarah, welcome from the break.
Thank you.
Yeah. So before we went for the break, we started the conversation around COVID-19, the actions that government took to curb down the virus, and how it has affected children. You started from the angle of education. I'm actually started from church, understandably, because you're from UCLF. So we could carry on the conversation around some of the other aspects that COVID-19 affected for children's rights.
Yes, for example, now when the schools were closed, and now the ones who are supposed to be in P1 have been in P1 for the last 2 years. There are children who have never stepped classes since the government closed. And you see, there's going to be a big difference between the children, like children from that village, and this one's from the towns,
Yeah,
yes.
city,
So there's going to be, I'll see an imbalance. There will be something wrong with that generation. Okay, I don't know how to put it, but I think it will be like that because these ones, there are those who are studying, there are those who are not. There are those who can afford the private teachers at home, and there are these children who have been seated at home. I remember one time I was in Dokolo, and we asked the children, they came and told me, no, we can't understand English. We left those ones 2 years ago. And I'm like, okay. So I said, okay, can I give you a pen and you write your name? That, me, I forgot. You see? So there is that. And then when we come to the girl child, there are those ones who have gotten pregnant. Hey, it's a big number. Yeah. And I just thought, if 100 girls get pregnant, those are 100 people 100 men or boys who are supposed to be in jail.
I didn't see that coming. Okay.
Yes. Every time I see it in my mind, I'm like, I just hope I get like 100 of those ones. They should be in jail. That's how it should be. Then there are those early marriages. Parents who have married off their daughters. So those ones are supposed to be in jail somewhere. So they're supposed to be in jail. Why? Because they are not protecting these children.
They are actually committing criminal.
Yes, they are committing more offenses. So for me, as I see numbers of girls getting pregnant, I keep wondering, are also that same number or more in jail because of the crimes they've committed, and then there are those ones of child-to-child sex, and in my head I'm like, have they cancelled those ones? But you see, in Uganda we don't have those counseling services. The probation officers are overwhelmed also. But again, who cares to go to the probation officer to report or ask their child, like, oh, come and counsel, my child has been going through this. I'll give an example. In Kayunga, one of the boys was arrested for defilement. So I meet with this girl. In Kayunga, we handled, our work is mainly like with the state attorney. So I meet with this girl. I ask her, we talk. And she was like, no, I just want him to be cautioned. I'm like, are you sure? Wow. You want him to be cautioned, and then you want to go back to the same group. It needs a mindset. It took me, took us like 3 hours talking to her. And then I told her, so what do you want to become? She actually wanted to become a teacher. I'm like, so now when you get pregnant, how will you become a teacher? Because you'll have a child to look after. But for him, he will have to continue with his education and what. After some thinking, he was like, I need him to be kept away for some time so that my mind can rest. Yeah. So we need a total, okay, what COVID has brought has destroyed the mindset of children. That's what I believe. And we need a change in the mindset of the children, that it doesn't matter when schools are closed, you can still get a book and read. But where will they get the books also from? The libraries, are closed. Public libraries, do we even have them deep in the villages?
I mean, even in Kampala.
Even in Kampala, it's countable. And who goes there? Remember, there is no trunk. When they closed completely and not moving everywhere, who will walk to come and get a book for the child to read? So we've had, COVID has brought a lot of negativity, I would put it, in the lives of the children. There would have been some positive things if the parents were sensitized early enough on how to raise children even when schools are closed.
Yeah. Sarah, you raised very, very touching, stories, which I know you've picked in the course of your work, and it's really chilling if you ask me. But I want us to have a conversation around the measures that government put in place to curb down COVID-19, and I'll ask you, how child-friendly were those measures? What's your assessment of, so for example, you're hearing of distribution of food, you're hearing about online learning, you're hearing about all these things that they put in place. How child-friendly, or what's your evaluation of those interventions? What let's start with the positives.
What
do you think worked? Yes, what do you think worked?
There's a positive, like thank you for those innovations like online schooling, but no, seriously, if you look at somebody in Dokolo, that's my village, so I can talk and I know I have, they don't even have radios.
The government, I think, tried to give some radios. I don't know if they reached Dokolo.
It never reached.
Oh, okay.
I heard they were going to give radios. Where it died from, I don't know. But, you know, it didn't reach. Then they started saying they would distribute the books, like some books to schools and what. But did those books reach to the village? You see, there is the village school. Then there is the village school. You get?
Yeah.
Even in the village, there's a town and there's a
then
village.
There's a real village.
Yes. So there's that village school. Did it reach? Do those who don't even have clothes to put on, can they afford a smartphone? Can they sit and listen to UBC? Where will they get it from? I think it would have been, government would have just built a community place where children but that also would have stopped the COVID.
Exactly, social distancing
Social
issues.
distance.
Yeah.
So if you look at food, food was distributed, they gave milk.
Okay.
But you see, that food will not take the children for long. Let's say you distribute that food to a mother of 8 or 5.
Even just 3.
Or even just 3. Would that food take them? It wouldn't take them for long. I think, see, COVID surprised everyone. And I know the government was trying its best to provide for its citizens, and it tried. But maybe we need proper structures in the communities. We need the LCs to give us proper structures in the communities to say these are the number of children we have in the community, but these are their age brackets. So that even when the government is providing something, food, it's providing things, like during the COVID times, it knows that in this particular community, we have this number of children, these are their age brackets. So let's say between 15 and 17 or 18, these ones, let's provide them with, apart from sugar and what, I think they need pads, or they need this. So the government tried, but it had some up and down.
You talked about, food, milk. I was about to ask you if some of your relatives in Dokolo benefited from it, but perhaps that can be a conversation for another day. But Sarah, now you work a lot around juvenile justice, and I thought we could sort of pick your insights as well from the angle of juvenile justice. How did COVID affect that area? Because I know even before that, children already were having conflicts with the law. And like many people argue that COVID just came and worsened the situation. I don't know what your views you have around that area.
The juvenile justice. And children, the most children ended up going on the streets during this COVID time. They left school, they started looking for money. And I don't know how many will go back to school. We have parents bringing children to the organization for us to counsel them, because when they tried secondary, opened a bit the other time, the children didn't want to go back because now they were making money.
Oh, on the streets.
On the streets. Some of them, the parents took them to the garages to learn something, so they felt they have enough skills.
They've arrived.
They have arrived. They don't want to go back. And you find the parents crying, saying, let them go back for some medication and what. So there is that loophole going on that we need more guidance for the children at this particular time in this COVID-19. We are still in COVID-19 times. Yes, we are still in. And then what I've seen, there was a lot of violence in the homes. and abuse in the homes. First of all, there was violence between the parents, but their escape route was school. When school got closed, they got entangled in the violence with the parents, and then they became the escape route.
Oh, for venting their anger.
Venting the anger. So they got all the pressure. All the pressure was thrown on them. They were beaten. When the mother again will blame, it's because of you, that's why I'm staying. So the child goes, no. Then the child is left. I remember one, Enoch, I won't give the other name, decided to even run away from home.
A child running away from home?
Yes, and he's 10.
Oh dear.
And then we had to counsel him. By the time we got him using police, he said for him he's tired of the work at home. It's routine. And he wants to also start going and playing with his peers. But the parents are saying, no, the peers go drinking and what we don't want him to be a part of that.
Which is a fair point.
Which is a fair point. But I think for him it's like, I'm tired of being in this thing. But
Four corners.
Four corners. And he comes from his parents drink also a lot and what, so they leave him with all the work. So he said for him, he's tired of the work, he rather goes on the street and vent for himself.
Sarah, you, some of the stories you're sharing are, quite chilling. Viewers, you're watching You and the Law, the COVID edition here on House of Talent Television. Today we are discussing children's rights. How has COVID-19 affected the rights of children in Uganda? What do we need to do? How do we protect children further during these extraordinary times? Let's go for a quick break. When we return, we'll give a sneak peek into the future. How do we get out of the mess that we find ourselves now from the angle of protecting children? Let's go for a break. We'll be right back. About the right of food,
Yeah, so that topic will also be discussed. As we all know, it's one of the rights which is internationally recognized. So we need to delve and try to understand what that right entails, Does it mean that the government should bring food and put on your table? Weekly updates, kind of. So what happens is, at first there wasn't an interpreter. I don't know whether there is one now,
It's been a while.
Yes, so there was a complaint that even the president's speeches were,
There was no sign language, conversation, or an impactful discussion around this,
Well, thank you. So each of these topics is going to be packaged, in almost a similar manner, So we'll be starting with the foundational issues. For starters, if we say we're going to discuss the rights of children in this country, we do not want to attack it at a higher level. We want to start by making you to understand that who is a child,
Welcome back from the break. This is You and the Law, the COVID edition here on House of Talent Television with me, Jonathan Ochom. Today we are discussing children's rights and how they've been affected by COVID-19. And with me in studio is Sarah Awelo, lead counsel for the GBV program at the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. Sarah, welcome from the break.
Thank you.
So we need to sort of look into the future. You've clearly given us really chilling accounts of the different situations children find themselves in because of COVID-19 and the different initiatives that, that government has tried to do, as well as parents. Now we need to think about anything that could happen 5 or 10 years from now, because we're not sure when the virus will come to an end. We don't know if anything else could emerge in future. So as a country that calls for preparation. So now I'll now ask you, looking at what the government of Uganda has done, what lessons do we learn from these interventions, from the angle of protecting children's rights? And perhaps later on we shall talk about recommendations, but what do you think we learn from our current intervention, our current experience trying to protect children amidst COVID-19?
What do we learn? We need everyone in the society to stand up, like to really get together and form a relationship. Doesn't matter the political party or whatever. We need to, religion, we need to first put away differences and come together and say we need to fight. We can't even fight COVID because we don't know much about it. But how do we protect people? Yes, they're saying immunization, but the children can't be immunized. And I was looking at children living with HIV, AIDS. During that lockdown, how were they getting their medication? It was hard. Then there were those children with cancer who were told to go back home. And then it is later that they started trying to get doctors on motorbikes to go and deliver the medication. But see, when there's a break in their medication, it brings more it brings more issues. And no one talked about the children who died during that time because of medication, not having medication in time and what, or who are fallen back in their things. So we need to learn to have a standby. We have to have community, maybe say they're paralegal, paramedics in the communities, and these paramedics should reach out to it should be in every parish, every village. We should have paramedics, so that if something happens like this in future, we have our paramedics already to reach out to children, children with disabilities, children living with HIV, AIDS, you know. Even the normal children, when you see moving, you have to go and get permission first. But if we had paramedics in the villages, it would be so easy. We wouldn't have this fallback a lot. And then maybe we should, even the parents who are not dedicated, I know they can teach math somehow. In the local language. Math can be taught in the local language.
1 + 1.
With the stones and what. But maybe we should try and get teachers and pay them more on how to reach areas. They're saying paying the scientists, but also the art teachers. Because these art teachers are the ones going to teach English to the scientists.
And they need English to pass science.
They need English to pass science. So we need the art teachers also. But if we could pay them hard to reach area more money, just because they are in those communities, maybe build for them proper housing facilities, so that even when this happens, we have teachers who will go reach out to villages to see that the children are listening, or the children are studying at least twice a week. If a teacher appears before a child and they go through some of the it refreshes them and tells them, stay with this, next week I'll pass by. So we need that to keep people to reach out to stay in the communities.
What of in terms of juvenile justice, in terms of keeping children safe, from the law ensuring that their rights? You talk about violence at the family level, you talked about environment and kind of things. How do we, in future, what do we need to do to ensure that if we find ourselves in this situation, this is how we shall protect children against sexual assault, for example?
We need to empower our local community, our LCs. And also first we need to empower the children. Do they know what the bad touch is. We were just trying to teach them before they went to lockdown. Where do they go? Do they know where to go to? Most of them are threatened after defilement. They're told, don't speak, or else we'll kill you, we'll kill your family. Then some of them, like this one who said, I was told to go, and they told him, you stand outside, we are going to give you a TV. But these thieves were coming to rob the grandmother.
Oh dear.
But they told him, we shall give you a TV where you don't have to ask permission or what. So they entered in the house for him. He stood to see that no one comes in. And then in the process, they killed the grandmother.
Oh.
So it was during the burial that he kept saying, but this one was the last to, these people entered in the house, the story. So he was arrested and told to go and tell these other people, and maybe he was charged with murder.
Oh, the child?
Yes, because he was in the whole chain. But he couldn't empower our children and tell them that they have this obligation. Yes, they have the rights, but they have the obligation. They have obligations to respect the society, respect their children. They have obligation to do work at home. They have, we have something we expect from them, even if we are giving them rights. So that they grow up knowing it's not about watching TV throughout. You have to also do something. Maybe that would help them. Not so that people do not sweet talk them. How are we talking to our daughters? How are we training our daughters? Will somebody give them, say, if you come and I do this to you, or I touch your breast, I will give you 500. And it's a coin, a 500 coin. And most of them can say, and he gave me a 500 coin to keep quiet. Or after being defied, it comes and say, they gave me 1,000. Is there a way we can teach them about value? How do they value themselves from young? You see, a child gets to understand from the time they are born. That's why they cry when they are hurt. I believe. So we need to teach value to the children from when they are young. But value is got if the person teaching them also has value. So do the parents have value to pass over? So should the government also? So we need to empower the local council to empower the community. We need to empower the religious leaders to empower the community. We also need to empower the witch doctors, the herbalists, and teach them, because you see they are the ones who will when somebody is arrested, they will say, the witch doctor told me if I sleep with a girl, my problems will be solved. So if we teach these witch doctors that the law says if they ever get you, if you're arrested, like even for sacrifice, child sacrifice, you will be penalized, you'll be held for murder, you'll go in for life. This is what the law says. There's a way they will trick. They will start telling the person, your problems will be done, let me put something on your hands, and then you go and work. The person
just playing with your mind.
They just play with their minds and go. I had an opportunity of talking to a witch doctor.
Okay. You're seeking their services.
We were sensitizing.
Oh, okay.
And you see in Kayunga, they are so proud to come and say how they are witch doctors because they are really respected in the community.
Yes.
So I said, okay. So we kept talking, and then I told him, but now instead of giving these women who come and complain about their husbands, or the husbands come and complain about their women. So he says for him what he does, he gets, it's a herb, it's actually a herb. And then he tells them, when he starts quarreling, you put it in your mouth and bite it. So the lady keeps biting, so she doesn't reply to the quarrels. Then the man keeps quiet. And then she'll start saying, oh, my husband actually changed. He stopped quarreling. But she doesn't know. It's because she did not answer back, so there was no one to...
There was no need for a fight.
There was no need for a fight, you know. So if we need also to empower them, the herbalist, you see how Mama Fina tries to help out, but if we empower her with the law, how much
information
more?
On the law.
Information on the law. Then she empowers her people. You know, so many people follow her. So we need to get those people who are the community blessed, like the community look up to.
Yeah. You mentioned about the child, being charged with a criminal offense. And I thought perhaps we'll take advantage of your presence to talk about criminal responsibility for children, because there's always emphasis on rights, like you correctly said, but also for children to know that you have responsibilities even during COVID-19.
During COVID,
you could just run up through about, what's the law on criminal
on children's
responsibility. At 5 years, do they become?
No. When when it's 12 years and when they're less than 12 years, from 11, they are not they are not criminally liable.
Okay.
But
so you can do anything in that age.
But you see there, we can get the LC to beat. I don't believe you just do something as a child and you walk away with it.
Yes.
No. But from 12, they are criminally liable. And they can be arrested. They're taken to the remand homes. And we have remand homes all over Uganda.
Yes.
And the main one means Kampala. That's how they pronounce it. It's long.
Yeah. Is that on the Masaka Highway?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they are taken there, and they are taken. They are taught. They are taught on vocational training, making wood, tools, but they are trained from that side. Now they are taken to the remand home at Naguru, where they are also taught. But they are liable, but they also need to know that. So if we also teach them that from 12 years, we shall really jail you in the children's jail. If you misbehave, then there is also, I think they will also change their behavior. But also these ones below 12, like from 11 downwards, may I believe a child will understand. We will not be like whites all the time and say you're going to be taken to a punishment corner and stand there. No, I think a few two sticks will get the person. Even the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. So we will not allow sparing the road. Because as I started, we want our children are the future of our nation. So we are not going to let them get away with anything, but we shall stick, as the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yes.
No, we are going to see that they are all brought up in a godly manner, whereby in the future we shall have less corruption.
They're indeed the future.
Yes. If they have less corruption, they know the law. Yes.
Sarah, as we come to the end of this show, just as sort of your final concluding remarks, and how do we then get out of this mess as a country in 30 seconds?
How do we get out of this mess?
Protect children, yes.
And protect children. We all have to come together.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about your religion, your party, your what. Come together. Let us see in each of our neighborhood who is a teacher in the neighborhood. We need to be the eyes of the parents in the neighborhood. Let us go back to saying it takes a village to raise a child.
Okay.
Don't let somebody's child be doing something wrong and you just say that's not my child. Take responsibility.
Okay, Sarah makes a very compelling point. We should take responsibility. We have to protect children during COVID-19 by following the law, empowering people with information so that they know that an extraordinary time like the pandemic is not an opportunity for you to exploit children, but rather to actually protect their rights. With that, we've come to the end of today's edition of You and the Law. I've been your host, Jonathan Ochom. Next week, we'll have another conversation on yet another human right which has been affected by the virus. Until then, bye.
My name is David Rogers Chintu, the principal of Asifiwe International Academy, and this is our story.
This is Asifiwe International Academy, an international school using the accelerated Christian education curriculum. It originates from the United States and has been in existence for more than 40 years. The Christian curriculum has been in Uganda for 18 years now, and Asifiwe International Academy is one of the schools using the curriculum. So, let's hear from the principal. Why a Christian curriculum?
I've been a teacher for 20 years ago, a teacher of physics and mathematics. I've grown through the ranks. I've been head teacher for 7 years in the national curriculum. I'm now here at Asifiwe International Academy as the principal. Initially, I thought I was going to become an electrical engineer, but I ended up getting education as a course, and that was one of my choices. So I learned through a Bachelor of Science in Education and qualified as a teacher. Did I ever have a dream while growing up? Of course, everyone has a dream, but I never thought I would be a teacher. Initially, I thought I would be someone doing a lot of science work. I loved sciences. That's what I did actually. Eventually, I ended up doing physics, chemistry, and mathematics. My dream was to be an electrical engineer. I loved dismantling things and assembling them, so that is the thing that I really loved and cherished a lot. You know, for us when we were growing up, we didn't have good career guidance. We didn't know what science do. We had a vague idea of what science does, and that's what I thought I would do. Initially, when I just started teaching, I realized that the national curriculum will not bring out the best in children. So I started a program called the Behavior Change Program. As much as children were learning the physics, the math, and biology, I thought there was something more they could learn. So I started up a curriculum on the side, which was called Behavior Change Program, which was teaching things which were not taught in schools. So I realized that our curriculum was limiting children. So when my son was about to join school, I started researching on a curriculum that can fulfill his potential. So I ended up in a curriculum called SCE. So I started using SCE at home. I had to ask my wife to step out of her job and teach our son using the SCE curriculum. But when we started looking for school using for the SCE curriculum to enroll our son, we didn't find many. Those which were there, the good ones, were not affordable, and those which are affordable are not using the right procedures of SCE. That's when we said, let's start Asifiwe International Academy on two aspects: to be affordable and to follow the right procedures. SCE is an international curriculum, and the SCE schools in Africa are monitored by an office in South Africa. So I had to travel to South Africa to train as a principal. Then when I came back here, I applied for a school establishment in the Ministry of Education, and they allowed us to start. That's how we started.
When we critically think about the present, Asifiwe International Academy for about 4 years now, with a student population of 230 from grade 0 to grade 10.
We've grown so fast. We've realized that so many parents out there were desiring a new curriculum which can transform children. And the testimonies we are getting are that even just a few weeks after enrolling the children, they are transformed, they are different. So we're encouraged to continue. In the first day, there were two children and 3 teachers. As you notice, the teachers were more than the children. The second day, another child joined in, so there were 3 children. At the end of the week, we had 3 children in the school, and later on the number grew, and to cut the long story short, by the end of that year we had 15 children, and the following year the number tripled.
Young people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand. 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Kampala Capital City Authority, the entity appointed by the Parliament of Uganda to be responsible for the day-to-day operations within Kampala, the capital city in Uganda, has over the years embarked on various initiatives and projects to better the living conditions within the city. One main area of focus for KCCA is water and sanitation, especially in vulnerable urban poor areas.
I'm Alan Koronziza, and I'm the program manager for the citywide inclusive sanitation program in Kampala. Kampala is a city of over 1.5 million residents who double during the day to over 3 million. Out of those 1.5 million residents, we found that 1% of those actually don't access any sanitation facility whatsoever. So they commonly use methods like the flying toilets that I'm sure many of us are aware of. We also found that the majority of the residents live in informal settlements. Actually, that's about 60% of the city's residents live in informal settlements. These are settlements that are not planned. These are settlements that are congested as a result of that. These are settlements that have limited access to basic services and utilities. We also found that when these toilet facilities fill, over 50% emptied the contents into the environment untreated, and actually joined the group that didn't have any access to toilets. And when we looked at what happens to these toilets when they are filled up, that was also another telling story. We found that only about 23% of these
people have an improvement of sanitation in this school.
KCCA identified fecal sludge management as a key.
Had toilets, and these toilets were insufficient because we had 29 stanzas in all. So when KCCA came in to help us, we were able to get more facilities. In fact, the number came. These include facilities reduce on the use of water because very little water.
We had communities that didn't have any information at all about how to access sanitation facilities, where communities who then link them to the service providers in the communities.
We went detail about Weyonje. The facilitators were good. They taught us what is Weyonje.
Sanitation service delivery in the city. Members were given out smartphones, and we started using that app.
So with the GSMA funding, we've been able to invest in mobile-based applications that help to link communities with the service, how they are delivering the service so they can actually increase their efficiencies. And the same mobile applications help KCCA understand where is the service being provided, where is it not provided, so that KCCA can reallocate the resources to the areas where the service is not being accessed very well.
Okay, we've got a new job, and he's having a septic tank with a flush toilet.
KCCA has taken a number of steps to address this sanitation challenge, which include, but not limited to the following: the setup of a call center to provide information to population, and secondly, to link them to service providers. And now, with active involvement of the private sector-led interventions, things are looking up. And it's not just KCCA's commitment to a better Kampala and the strategic partnerships that is transforming fecal sludge management issues within the city.
So what we're seeing over a space of 1 year, when we've started this approach of using the technology to actually address this service chain, is we're seeing a 20% in the amount of fecal sludge that is actually being evacuated from the communities. We're seeing more toilets being emptied. We're seeing more service providers actually being employed or called upon to provide these services. So this GSMA funding has been very, very critical. It has been very helpful in actually tightening or linking that part of the service chain and ensuring that a citywide service is actually being delivered.
The whole program, I can range it, it has been a success by 95%, because initially we were operating in a very informal way. Everyone was in his own. So we got trainings, we started companies. After starting companies, KCC and GIZ started also to legalize service permit. They have recommendation for national water that actually every fecal sludge you collect, you have to dispose it at its facilities, and the NEMA license, which is the last license that is required in rendering this sanitation business. So the whole process, at first we saw that maybe KCC has come to kick us out of the business, but we were far short-sighted. But in the due course, in the process, we saw that KCCA want to shape our final destiny in this sanitation business, because we are given the priority such that we can comply with the city rules and regulations. If we fail, then they get other people to come and take over sanitation in the city.
My name is Faizo Kiwewa, Director of Baimba. Welcome to this year's edition of Doa Doa 2021. As you're all aware, we skipped our 8th edition to the 9th. Don't blame us, the world did skip a year, and so did we. Since 2008, we have organized festivals, trained stakeholders, and championed a performing arts market that has helped local artists to level with the rest of the world and the region. That's how, with the rest of the world and the region. That's how Baimba has contributed to the vibrant arts sector in Uganda. This edition of Doa Doa is thought to be quite different from the previous years. We are running it for 3 months, from May to July. Once a week, we'll host a speaker and one artist for 30 minutes. We are going about them. Curated to give a glimpse of the performing arts industry, starting from right to the right in Iceland, India, Chile, USA, and South Africa. We are going to meet with our friends, some of the most amazing game changers from around the world. They are going to tell us about their spaces, from around the world. They are going to tell us about their spaces, their initiatives, the opportunities and the possibilities we thought, and we think we owe our audience what others have got to offer, and hopefully they could be inspired. And our second speaker is Mark Ball from Manchester, the United Kingdom.
Hello to everyone at the Baimba Foundation and welcome from Manchester and Manchester International Festival. I'm going to talk to you about a little bit later. And it's really wonderful to be here today, albeit by video. The history of Manchester International Festival is really tied in to the history of Manchester. Manchester is known as a city of invention. It's where the Industrial Revolution started. And ever since then, the city has been making new things, from it being the birthplace of the trade union movement to the starting point of computing. Manchester is always about newness. It calls itself the response to that, and to create a festival that uniquely would focus on new work. So everything that happens in Manchester International Festival, which happens really adventurous, to come to the city, to try out new things, and to show things here first before taking it around the world. And we're particularly interested with that spirit of invention in really pushing the new. So much of the festival is about bringing artists together from different forms, different traditions, together into a collaborative space so that they can really test out new ideas and create new types of theatre, dance, opera and visual arts to really try and think about and imagine what the art of the future might look like. So the festival takes place every 2 years. It takes place across the whole city of Manchester. But at its DNA, at its heart, is the creation of that new work that I talked about, with artists from different forms coming together to create really, really new and exciting things. And just to give you some examples to illustrate that, recently we worked with the amazing Oscar-nominated actor Riz Ahmed to create a project called The Long Goodbye, where Riz really wanted to create a piece of work that looked at the impact of racism on immigrants into the really unique piece. More historically, we invited the amazing actor and director Kenneth Branagh to reimagine what Macbeth might look like in a beautiful old abandoned church in the heart of Manchester, creating a really epic but very intimate performance that allowed Kenneth Branagh to really play with the form of theatre making. Another landmark Manchester International Festival project, and one from its very first festival, was Monkey Journey to the West, which was a collaboration between the Chinese director Zhen Zizhen, the pop musician Damon Albarn, and the illustrator and visual artist Jamie Hewlett. And together, they brought a whole new perspective on that very traditional legendary story of Monkey Journey to the West, really bringing together the traditions of Chinese circus, choreography, design and popular music to create something that felt entirely new, that started life in Manchester and then went and travelled around the world. And to bring us up to date with a more recent project, we worked with the grime artist Skepta. Skepta was really wanting to try and create a new experience for audiences, a much more intimate live music event. I think he was fed up with playing gigs where audience members would watch him by holding up their mobile phones and would watch him mediated through a screen. So he wanted, as I say, to create something that felt much more immediate, much more intimate. So we worked with him to create and design an incredible set, to work with technologists, to build this visual world that Skepta created on this beautifully designed stage, with only a few people, 1,000 people crowded around him, to create again an entirely new type of live music event where mobile phones were in fact banned. We took them off the audience at the start of the gig. So the Bayamba Foundation asked me about the sacred that has given birth to a hugely great musical tradition that actually goes back, over a century, from the establishment of the Halle Orchestra. We now have the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra here as well. But more recently, really since the 1970s, an incredible explosion of popular music in the city, from Joy Division, New Order, the Stone Roses, Oasis, Manchester really being a cradle of great musical talent that's gone and been exported around the world. So in terms of music, which has really been at the heart of the festival, we've worked with some of the great artists from across the UK and from around the world. Artists like New Order, who I've referenced earlier, but we got them to actually collaborate with the visual artist Liam Gillick to really think about what a collaboration would mean for a live music event that brought together visual arts and music. We worked with Bjork, but again asking her to do something to imagine what a Bjork experience might be like in virtual reality. We worked with Abdou and Mariam, bringing them to the Whitworth Art Gallery in Manchester. So music has always been a really integral part of the festival, and it's one of the things that will really drive the programme in our new home, the Factory. One of the things that Faisal asked me to talk about were the opportunities for artists from East Africa to engage with the festival. We've had a tradition of working with artists from across Africa. I mentioned Abdou and Mariam. We're working currently with the South African choreographer Greg Makoma. And actually, really excitingly, we're developing a long-term relationship with the amazing Homecoming Festival in Lagos, a festival that celebrates the best of Nigerian and West African design, art, culture, fashion and music. And we'll be bringing that to Manchester in this year's festival as a start of a longer-term relationship. And we'd love to work more with artists from East Africa as well. And we're always open to ideas. We're always open to collaboration. So please, if you've got ideas for what you think might work in the festival, want to build with us in Manchester, please just get in touch. We really do want to be open to new ideas. So I'm going to end by talking about two really exciting things. The first is that in a year which we've all faced huge difficulty and huge uncertainty, we're absolutely delighted to be able to present another edition of Manchester International Festival this July, made and created through all of the difficulties and all of the restrictions of COVID. But we've worked hard to pull together artists from the UK and some international artists to create a really special moment over the first 18 days in July in Manchester, a moment that will bring people back into the city, that will allow them to congregate and to reflect on the year that's just gone, to think about what's happened, but also, importantly, to really find moments of collective joy, something that I think we've all been longing for over the past difficult 12 months. And finally, the thing that I'm actually working on most is the factory. The factory will be Manchester International Festival's new year-round home. It's being built right in the heart of Manchester, and it will give a year-round invitation for artists to be their most adventurous, where we'll be able to provide artists with new commissions and new opportunities to present their work, not just every 2 years in the festival, but now in an incredible new space, every day of the year. And I'm thrilled that we're only 18 months away from opening the factory. And it's a really, really unique space. It's a space where we're going to invite artists to be their most ambitious, to make work of scale. I was incredibly excited the other day to be able to go for the first time in over a year because of COVID onto the factory site and to stand inside that building and to have seen it develop and grow, which I've only been able to do virtually or by looking at photographs, but to see it in the space and to understand its scale and its possibilities. This really is an incredible building that's going to allow artists to create hugely ambitious work of scale in a purposely designed building. So we're really excited about the potential for artists from all over the world to come and be their most creative, not just in the festival, but in the factory as well. In July, we really look forward to welcoming you to Manchester, whether that's in person or online, and you can catch up with lots of things that are going on in the festival via our website. There'll be a lot of work that's shown online. So if you can't join us in Manchester, please do log on and you'll be able to engage with performances and all sorts of activities and really get a sense and flavour of the festival. So I really do hope that you join us then. And as I say, we really are open to great ideas, to great conversations about how you might want to work with us. So please do, at any time, get in touch. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of Doa Doa 2021 virtual docu-series. As you've heard from the amazing speaker, now you're going to get to know the artist. This week's In Focus artist is Jemima. She's one of the greatest performers of this country, and that's why she got herself the name The Gladiator. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy.
I'm a Ugandan. I'm a Ugandan. Nyoma nyoma emirimu tolina wona kalimu kokola okere kulela ngalo oli monna Uganda wana bachi nyoma nyoma mukamabo tolina
Ndibuna Uganda nenyumiririza nyomwecho njagala nyonze Ndibuna Uganda ensi yange nenyumiririza nyomwecho gemazima. Hello everybody. Welcome to Doa Doa. I'm called Jemima Sanyu. I'm from Uganda, Kampala. Yeah. I'm a singer. I started doing music when I was still a very little girl in church. Jemima, people call me the stage gladiator. You can't see that now when I'm talking, but when I get on stage, I become furious. Yeah, I have this energy, I have this passion, and that is what makes me a gladiator. It's like a battlefield when I'm on stage, but I don't do it alone. It's not normally with a team that I work with. what has been my musical journey from childhood. I would say it wasn't an easy one, but my mom kept on pushing me. My mom was a singer in church, in a Catholic church, and she used to sing with us at home. Every time she would get moody, every time she would get happy, she would just make a choir. She had a choir of 5 little beautiful babies, and I was the firstborn. So most of the times, if she wasn't taking the lead, she would tell me, Jemima, please take the lead. And there was some simple song that she used to sing for us. Holy, 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 holy. So that grew, it grew in me. I grew up singing every day. We used to sing every day. So after, from home, I would go to school. Trust me, I was always in choir 24/7. Church, singing in a church called JCC, Ginger Christian Center, way back in Ginger. When I went to university, I did something different. That was computer networking. I did a short course. Yeah. Then I tried to look for jobs around. That is when my husband came in. My husband, producer Legend P. He told me, but Jemima, you've tried everything and things have failed. Why don't you try singing? Why don't you take it to a professional level? You know? So I got in touch on pushing me. They kept on helping me. They gave me training, and I ended up this professional singer. We also started a band. It was a very simple band in the beginning, but later on it kept on growing. I got to meet people like Mr. Faizo Chiwewa. He has really been a great man in my journey. So many people, but Mr. Faizo Chiwewa has really done a great job. I've worked with people like producer Henry Chiwewa, producer Legend P, producer Steve Jean. Actually, it's in the family. And my brother, producer Big Nash.
I give it to you. Give me love, then I give it to you. Give me love, I give it to you. Big Nash Jemima, I give it to you. Hey!
What motivates me? There is a lot that motivates me, but mostly it's the people around me. The people around me. If you hurt me today, trust me, I'll write a good song about pain. Seriously. If you show me love, you know, if you hug, just a hug is enough for me to write a song. Yeah. Politics at times, you know, where I come from, it's just the daily life, the things that I look forward to as a musician. There are so many. There are so many. I kept on saying, oh, I want to be bigger than Angelique Kidjo since I was a little kid. I want to be bigger than this lady who sang Malaika. Malaika, nakupenda. I used to look at such women and they used to motivate me. But I wanted to be more. Up to now, I still want to be more. Even when you look at my performances, trust me, I'm more.
Katinze nawe tuseye yenga mayengo naguno mukwano kutumbire nga kavera baby nze nawe tuseye yenga mayengo naguno mukwano kutumbire nga kavera musangari musapatu natalina ya dele chikopo nebakola wa munebe zimbe mbela nechuka besubiza ngebiri pure ngabayitana babiri player.
Seriously, Jemima Sanyo believes in God. First of all, I grew up in a godly family. We used to pray every day, morning, evening. There was a time I had to leave home. We had some issues, you know, how families, you know, my mom had to separate with my dad. They had to separate. And they took me to a pastor's home. trust me, we would pray every day. So that really made me grow as a person, spiritually. It really helped me in the way I behave, treat other people. Yeah, in everything that I do, I have to make sure people see God. They see God. How do they see God? By doing good. Doing good. So I believe in God. I grew up in a very terrible family, you know. My dad was very, very, very tough. He used to beat us almost every day. Every day. Imagine every day, even without any reason. He'll just find you there sitting, doing nothing, and he'll just ask you, what are you doing? You know? And in case you didn't have any answer for that, he would beat you to death. He would make sure he first sees blood coming out of you. So that really brought pain, you know? It brought pain into my heart. Not me alone, even my siblings. Every time I open up my voice just to sing, I run away from all that pain. That's why I give it my all. That is where I get the strength from.
Najua tuliyokosana mimi na wewe, yeah. Hakunipa nafasi nikueleze ilianzaje na iliwaje, na hawezi ona the truth in my eyes. The old me, they got you blind. Hey!
How I was brought up, the pain I went through just because mom and dad were not happy together, you know, and I had to suffer, you know. And being the firstborn, I had to make sure I'm in between these wars, you know, in between mom's wars, dad's wars, the in-laws. It was always chaos, chaos, chaos everywhere. So it really made me grow into this strong, you know, strong, understanding, reasonable girl, you know. So, and up to now, I still feel the pain, you know, because it's hard, yeah? It's hard to see your mother somewhere different, your father somewhere different, and it's you who has to, you know, keep on pulling them together. You know, no, we have to do this, we have, you know. So that really drives me, you know. So every time I sing, I just run away from that pain. Actually, I normally don't talk about this story. This is the first time it's coming out. It's the first time. But I really love people. So every time I'm performing, I just want to spread that love out of me to the world, you know, out of me to the audience, out of me to everyone watching, out of me to the little girls, you know, because I don't want people, I know people have different challenges, they have different families, they have different parents, you know. Some of us were not lucky, but trust me, many of the girls are also have not been lucky. So what I normally do is I don't want to bring that pain to them. So that is what I normally do. I just spread the love. This is a special song coming from Jemima Sanyo. I want to dedicate it to everyone watching Doa Doa. It talks about love that cannot just go away. Broken love, tears, scars. But you know, you have to keep on holding yourself to that person, you know. And I would really want to dedicate it especially to the girls, to the women who have been through what who have gone through what I went through when I was growing up with my father, my tough, tough, tough father. Because I still love him. I still respect him, you know. He's my father. I can never get another father. Okay. This love is so tall, it gets us high, we touch the sky. These tears and the scars are too strong, they rewind the time. This love is so tall, it gets us high, we touch the sky. These tears and the scars are too strong, they rewind the time. Ni wanafaa kubadilisha ilianzaje, iliwaje. Jemima loves Beyonce. I love Beyonce because of her energy, her performance, her voice, you know. She touches my heart, you know. I would really feel good to perform with that woman, you know, having that Ugandan energy, joined together with, you know. I love Beyonce. Actually, even when you check my gallery, it's full of that lady. Her photos, her videos. I just love Beyonce. I won't specify that this is the kind of stage that I want to be on, you know. I just want to give myself room. Whatever comes my way is what I go with, you know. I just have to keep on being hopeful, you know. The stages are too many. There are too many. But trust me, whichever stage comes my way, trust me, Jemima can tear it down. Uh-oh! Is the world ready for me? It has to be. Am I ready for the world? Come on. I'm ready for the world, you know. During the COVID-19 season, yeah, actually it was a dead year because most of the venues where we were working from had to close down. The hotels, the restaurants, the bars, you know, the stages, Bayimba, we didn't do Bayimba, we didn't do Doa Doa. It was a lot. And there were some tours that we normally went to. They were all closed. Everything was shut down. What I decided to do was turn my energy to the studio, you know. So we recorded songs. I have songs like Bandage, Njagala Bandage, you know, and it's my husband, the producer, who produced it. I also have songs like Give Me Love, Give Me Love. That was my brother, Big Nash, who produced it, you know. So far, I have two producers working on me, Legend P and Big Nash. They're really putting in a lot because they know what I can do. And they love me, you know. They want the best from me. And I really appreciate that, you know. Where can people find my music? My music is everywhere. You can go to YouTube, yeah. I have all the videos there, all the audios there, all my social media platforms, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you know, SoundCloud, everywhere. Trust me, we try to put all the music out there for people to listen.
Thank you so much for joining this week's show, Doa Doa 2021. I hope you had some fun and got some inspiration. If you have any comment, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave your comment, or our Facebook page, Twitter or Instagram. We'll definitely get back to you. We are very grateful, and until next week, I remain your host, Faizo Kiwewa from Bayimba and the Doa Doa team. Keep it Doa Doa 2021.
An army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. As a pay.
Yeah.
So let's be very honest about this thing and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong. Just like a lion. You know, when a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away. And yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion. They are heavier than the lion. They are more intelligent than the lion. They are taller than the lion. They run away. The lion, because of its attitude, it sees lunch. That is a leader.
Mr. Tonatra, thank you very much for coming to the CEO bench. And I want to ask you, so if you were elected the President of the Republic of Uganda today, what would be your first State of Nation address now as you look into the camera and close the show?
I think my first State of the Nation address would first of all to... I think I'll just close it down.
I was so excited seeing many of you enduring pain. Many of people here come to run for different purposes. Others are running because they're fighting a disease. Others are running because they're fighting weight. Others are running because they're contributing money to their families. So it is important for us to cheer everyone. The people of Kasese, I want to thank you for being extremely welcome. You have shown the spirit of Uganda. We are Uganda. We are Uganda. Let me tell you, we have 33 nations represented today. Our first marathon was 2022. We had 800 runners from 4 countries. Last year, we had 2,200 runners from 17 countries. This year, we have 3,600 runners from 33 countries. Next year, we hope to have 7,000 runners from 50 countries. That's our commitment to Kasese.
Celebrating Africa's future.
Africa is talking.
When we first started the summit, the first day was they taught us about UI UX design. That's something you never do at campus unless otherwise. So the project we're working on is designing a UI and a UX of a USSD application. And that would help users always to get current market prices. So that is what we have been doing and what we look forward to enrolling it shortly after this summit.
I've been able to collaborate with different developers and learn more that I'll integrate it in my journey as a junior developer.
It has really been so amazing, and me taking part on the very first event has really been so great. So it has been so amazing, and I'm glad I was part of it.
My entertaining session was with Sylvia when she was talking about women in tech, and that really inspired me to pursue more.
It's very important for junior developers like me and fellow developers out there that if we get a chance to attend these events, we should attend them so that we can get more information from people who are above us so that we can be guided in the right path.
The most exciting thing and the session I had during the summit was the first thing I need to talk about this, like meeting Sylvia. I see a young lady talking to us content about this thing called Africa is Talking APIs, and the content she was giving us was really so amazing. So the first thing I loved so much about this was getting to meet her and getting to see her, the passion she has for African women and tech. It has really been so amazing, and yeah, I love that a lot.
My key takeaway of this summit is to be swift in running projects. However much you have a lot on your plate, you can still run them, whether in a group or as a person.
So my takeaway is we need to collaborate, and I'm looking forward to reaching out to most of those devs to see how we can collaborate and work together to build Africa. And I'm looking forward to being one of Africa's, entrepreneurs. And if it sparks from here, that's really so amazing. Looking forward to it.
Every day you wake up in the morning, what inspires you to do what you do?
Mostly when I wake up in the morning, I pinch myself because I think a lot of us in this life are trying to figure out what it looks like to live our best life. And to me, it's having a sense of meaning and purpose, and that I am working every day with a group of people that inspire me towards a purpose that I think is the most important in the world, and uses my unique gifts and talents to help push that forward. It gives me a sense of meaning and enthusiasm and energy that I think a lot of people don't have access to without that strong sense of purpose and the ability to focus their attention on that purpose on a daily basis. So I just feel extremely lucky.
This Africa is Talking Summit 2024 has actually been of great impact to African development, because this is a tech summit where young developers in our developer ecosystem have had a chance to interact and learn from the industry experts who actually understand where the development in technology, especially in Africa, is headed. So it's presented them an opportunity to now go back and build solutions that they've actually identified the gaps during this summit in technology. These solutions will be brought to the marketplace, and they'll be able to now solve a lot of these problems that we experience in Africa.
This summit has really been amazing, just looking at how it has brought people from different organizations, different backgrounds, just coming together to create new ideas, build new technology for Africa. That alone shows that we are working towards the best. and I am looking forward to what is to come.
For me, it's about answering the needs of Africa. And as Africa is talking, we are trying to support the innovations that will answer this problem. So we are at the point where we are positioning ourselves to help developers to be able to innovate to solve those problems. So this summit has brought together experts from different fields, different countries, and different expertise. So it's been a very engaging session where we have experts, we have people who are learning, a lot of networking, a lot of exchanges, and yeah, it's been amazing.
So I believe the Summit 2025 is a place to start and encourage the young people, the people at the lowest stage, to grow and build for Africa.
I know definitely it may not be in Uganda, but it will bring together a bigger group of developers and industry experts and even business leaders and entrepreneurs.
I think the tech industry is going to grow huge. I think in the next 5-10 years, we are going to have amazing stuff. We are going to have things that we have not seen before. And I'm really excited because I am seeing what the young minds are coming up with.
So just based on how this 2024 summit has been, I can't wait. I know it will be bigger, it will be better, and it can only get better from here. And we are looking forward to even bringing in more experts, more developers, more partners, more customers in the next session. So you should plan to be there.
Basically, innovating for Africa means that we are coming up with new ideas to make Africa better in the future.
As Africa's talking, we are looking at innovating around just answering to the needs of the people of Africa and ensuring that Africa is growing to where it needs to be. To me, I look at it from an opportunity because with the software engineering, they have ability to really build solutions that will innovate Africa.
On behalf of government and the people of Uganda, I welcome you to yet another edition of the Uganda International Oil and Gas Summit. This year's summit is happening at a crucial time when we are beginning to witness the fruits of our strategic patience and hard work in the oil and gas sector. I'm glad that the projected investment and jobs for Ugandans are being realized. Drilling in the Teringa has commenced and we are set for first oil in 2025. Our strategy, therefore, is to continue developing more of these renewable energy resources. I want to assure you all that government is committed to continue supporting the oil and gas sector. With these words, it's now my pleasure to declare this conference open. I wish you all fruitful deliberations for God and my country.
The Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Ministers present, and all the dignitaries present, welcome to the 8th International Oil and Gas Summit 2023.
I would like to take this opportunity and privilege to welcome you to the 8th edition of the Oil and Gas Conference under the theme, Harnessing Opportunities, Overcoming Challenges, and Creating a Sustainable Future. To our sponsors, partners, we thank you for the support, and your support continues to make this summit a reality.
Let me also add my voice to Mr. Bukenya, who has thanked the sponsors and the organizers for this summit. This is the 8th edition. Thank you so much, and please continue supporting us. Uganda's oil and gas story has been a very interesting one, driven by commitment and value maximization. For some time now, we have been working patiently, but in a focused manner, under the guidance of His Excellency, the President of Uganda, General Dr. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa. And I'm very, very appreciative.
I'm happy to state that our per barrel emission is among the lowest in the world at 13 kilograms of carbon dioxide per barrel. On my behalf and on behalf of my colleagues, I would like to thank His Excellency, the President, for having visionary leadership, which has enabled the sector to register remarkable milestones. May this summit be a catalyst for positive change and progress.
In addition to being the annual event or the annual platform for sharing information in Kampala, the Uganda International Oil and Gas Summit, as part of the world's largest oil and gas event organizers, has been able to extensively market opportunities and collaborations in Uganda across our global database and at major international events across the world. And we greatly appreciate the work that this organization is doing. Therefore, this 8th Uganda International Oil and Gas Summit is timely in that it's being organized at the start of the development and production phase.
The skills we are trying to put in place should be able to translate into jobs internationally. We are in an international forum, right? So even if my oil and gas experts here do not get jobs here, they should be able to go to Nigeria and get jobs. Because we are AFCFTA, right? We are exporting and importing goods and services, right? And all this is import substitution. So we are not only substituting just commodities, but also services. So education services. So I think we should be able to get the big companies, grow them now by investing in them now to build that kind of capacity.
For Ugandans, what you need to do is, like they said, stop crying. Partner, collaborate with people. Start to that level you can. Okay? Start to the level that you have capacity for.
You need to bring those services into Uganda so that Ugandans will learn from the field. Some of the things Slumberger was using to render oil services in Nigeria, today we are manufacturing them in Nigeria. We are building those systems in Nigeria. Most of us were trained by Slumberger, Halliburton, and all those multinational oil servicing companies. That's how we got the knowledge, got the skill, and came to this level. So if you allow the service companies come in, employ Ugandans, over 4 or 5 years, they will learn the skill, they will learn the trade, and start building up their own. If you give them fund today, they will not succeed because the knowledge is not there yet.
I would like to conclude by looking at and encouraging women, especially in the technical roles, given the hard conditions associated with the oil and gas industry, to look at the bigger picture, not just to look at themselves as women and to have self-pity on themselves, but to know that they too can do it and can even do it better.
For Uganda, you really need to look at life cycle career for women and put in place what is required. Create that inclusive culture with that is not just equality. Yes, the end game, as I said, is equality, but it's equity at the end of the day, so that give them the support they need to grow the careers, create that environment for them to thrive. Then for women in business, really, networks are very important. Apart from the fact that as a woman, the most important asset you have is your confidence. You need to be confident. You need to prepare for opportunities that come. But more importantly, join networks. It is still very important. You don't have to be a man or woman. If you want to do something, you have to go out, find out what it's about. It has to come from you. And I think this whole narrative of women being, maybe a bit timid, we're seeing it. These are not timid women. And I think we need to also kind of get away from that narrative. And the reason why I just said no men here, it wasn't that I was planning to have no men. I think it's also important sometimes for women's voices to be heard. And I'm so grateful for this sector because it's a sector that has allowed me to impact. I have paid it forward and I continue to pay it forward. So for me, it's a very emotional journey that I'm going through. And for those of us who are building companies, we are leaving a legacy. It's not going to die with us. We will leave it for the next group. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
To the speakers and the delegates and the moderators, thank you very much. We can't do this without you.
Could we please remain standing for the national anthem? The media team.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
The Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Ministers present, and all the dignitaries present, welcome to the 8th International Oil and Gas Summit 2023. My name is Eddie Okila. Honorable Prime Minister, you are welcome, and we're happy to receive you this morning. Mr. Gaspar Bukenya, he is the Managing Director and the co-founder Managing Director of Beautiful Engineering and Equipment Limited. He is also the partner host of this summit, and very passionate young Ugandan in the oil and gas sector. Has been around the oil and gas sector for over 16 years and has got a wealth of experience in managing partnerships, but also in operations and in procurement. Ladies and gentlemen, will you put our hands together and welcome Gaspar Bukenya to give us the opening remarks on behalf of all the hosts. Gaspar, you're welcome.
Thank you, Eddie. The Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Minister of Energy, the State Minister of Energy, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy and all the other permanent secretaries present, the various heads of government bodies and various government departments, both private, the heads of the various private sector oil and gas organizations, both local and international, the media and the general public on social media watching us today. I would like to take this opportunity and privilege to welcome you to the 8th edition of the Oil and Gas Conference under the theme, Harnessing Opportunities, Overcoming Challenges, and Creating a Sustainable Future. Honorable Prime Minister, this year, the summit has attracted delegates from over 16 countries with over 175 delegates, both local and international. And to our visitors, especially those that are coming to Uganda for the first time, you are welcome to the Uganda International Oil and Gas Summit, and you're also welcome to Uganda as a whole. The next 2 days are going to be filled with various discussions on not just the oil and gas industry, but also related sectors, to give a full buffet of technical opinion and depth. We would like to take this opportunity to thank all our speakers, moderators, panelists who have taken time to prepare for the various respective sessions. To our sponsors, partners, we thank you for the support, and your support continues to make this summit a reality. With these few remarks, allow me to invite the Honorable Minister of State to welcome and invite the Honorable Minister, and I wish you a nice 2-day of the 8th edition of the Uganda International Oil and Gas Summit. Thank you very much.
the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a big occasion where we are talking about oil and gas and other sources of energy. Mine is to invite with honor the Minister of Mineral Development to make our remarks and invite the Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, who is here to represent His Excellency the President, my colleagues, ministers, members of Parliament, my shareholder partners in upstream, midstream, downstream, our distinguished guests. Allow me observe all the protocol. Let me also add my voice to Mr. Bukenya, who has thanked the sponsors and the organizers for this summit. This is the 8th edition. Thank you so much, and please continue supporting us. This year's theme is Uganda's oil and gas revolution, harnessing opportunities, overcoming challenges, and creating a sustainable future. In line with that theme, Uganda's oil and gas story has been a very interesting one, driven by commitment and value maximization. For some time now, we have been working patiently, but in a focused manner, under the guidance of His Excellency the President of Uganda, General Dr. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa, to ensure that we sustainably explore and exploit our oil and gas resources. This informed the decision to put in place the requisite policies and regulatory frameworks together with the establishment of the key institutions for effective management and regulation of the sector. And I would like to pause here and thank the lead of government business who is here with us, who is representing the President, for having helped me and my colleagues to mobilize Parliament to support the enactment of all the legal, the acts and the regulations that this sector wants. You know, legislature is not easy. If you don't have support there, it may take a lot of time. But all the policies that support oil and gas have been passed in the required time frame. And I'm very, very appreciative. The presentations and discussions during the course of this conference, Right Honorable, will showcase the progress that has been registered since the discovery of commercial quantities of oil and gas in 2006. The challenges, how the challenges have been surmounted, and the available opportunities in the country. We continue welcoming the Uganda Oil and Gas Summit because it gives us the opportunity to share whatever the country has with a diverse group of investors from across the globe. I know we are time-bound. Probably would have allowed an introduction by group for the Prime Minister to appreciate that people have moved from far to come here and participate and share their experiences with us. We appreciate that, and may this summit continue being organized. We will therefore continue collaborating with the organizers to maintain the success of the conference so that we can leverage the opportunities it affords us. You recall that Uganda made the first commercial discovery of oil in 2006, and it is estimated that the country's in-place volume of oil resources to date is 6.5 billion barrels of oil, equivalent of 1.4 billion barrels recoverable. Some gas reserves, estimated at 500 billion cubic feet, have also been confirmed. But Uganda's Albertine Graben is majority an oil province. The discovered crude oil and gas is being commercialized through a refinery and a crude oil export pipeline whose development is progressing steadily. Since the last conference, a lot of progress has been registered in both the exploration and development segments of the sector. We concluded the second licensing round with issuance of 2 exploration licenses to Ugandan National Oil Company and DGR Global of Australia. The companies have commenced on the implementation of the agreed work programs. On the development side, a lot of work is ongoing and government is doing its facilitative function of ensuring that oil companies are able to undertake the required activities. And in this regard, I granted a construction license for the construction of the East African crude oil pipeline in January this year. We are also ensuring that Tilenga and Kingfisher projects receive the government support that they require from the various government entities in a timely manner, because we are a committed government that is intentional in creating and maintaining a conducive environment for investors in the country. I am glad to report, Right Honorable, that the positive partnership between government and the oil companies has seen infrastructure development in the oil and gas region. The Right Honorable Prime Minister, who is here with us, comes from the oil region, and she has witnessed this infrastructure, the roads, the second international airport, now the refinery that is soon starting. Since she comes from there, and she's our chief whip, the seniorest whip, she always appreciates and makes a call to me whenever there is something that she feels must be attended to. I want to thank you so much for the support that you have given in explaining to our project-affected people to be a little bit patient where we delay. She has been very critical in speaking to the project-affected people. With additional investment in the sector, we expect more benefits to the Ugandan economy, and that is why we continue to promote these opportunities and encourage all of you to get interested. Uganda's approach to exploration of petroleum and energy is anchored on the need for sustainable development. We have just passed the Energy Policy 2023, whose goal is to meet the energy needs of Ugandan's population for social economic transformation in an environmentally sustainable manner. Uganda has concluded development of its energy transition that demonstrates the role of petroleum in funding the transition, but also providing liquefied petroleum gas from refining as a cleaner source of energy. I always use this opportunity to explain further the transition that the world expects must be a just transition. When you are coming from the grave, you can't compete with somebody who is on surface. So when some people are already in the departure lounge, there are those who are still looking for visas and passports. So you can't transit together. This is what I always tell the world, to be patient to Africa. We shall reach there at our own pace and time, because we don't want casualty. So LPG to us is better than firewood and charcoal. So the developments at Kingfisher, Tilenga, are being eyed because we expect to get LPG. Through the policy, we intend to strengthen electricity generation, transmission, and distribution. We also intend to increase electricity access and uptake of alternative modern forms of energy. You've heard me talk about the electricity access scale-up project funded by the World Bank loan, $638 million US, where we are going to connect freely to people who have poles, one pole, or you need a pole. We call it no pole or one pole connection. We shall connect you freely, provided you wire your house using certified wire people. These days I don't talk about wiremen because we have women there. So certified wire people. And we shall also cater for those people who cannot afford to pay the entire amount for wiring the small house they have. But if you help them with a ready board, 2 sockets and a switch and 2 bulbs, they'll be able to pay for the electricity that they use every month. So we are going to extend connection and also help the poor to get access to this clean energy. We have no alternative but to do that. We have to save our forests in Uganda. So, let me also mention that Uganda is also strong on the mineral side, with a country endowed with various minerals that are being exploited, including precious metals, iron ores, base metals, rare earth elements, industrial minerals, among others. You remember, Right Honorable, the ban that the President put on the exportation of unprocessed minerals. It is yielding results. For the first time, you are going to commission a tin refinery in Mbarara, refining tin or smelting tin up to 99.96% by wood cross. So the President's efforts have yielded results. I am concluding, Right Honorable. In conclusion, I must say that those who are interested in partnering with us in mining, we are soon establishing a Ugandan national mining company, and we introduce the production sharing agreement in the mining industry. Let me, in a special way, thank His Excellency, the President, who has delegated you to come and deliver his speech. I would like now to take this opportunity to invite you, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Leader of Government Business, Majegere, to come and address us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, and everybody present. Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa, my elder sister, the Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Honorable Peter Lokeris, Minister of State, Mineral Development, Honorable Members of Parliament, I'm told we have 2, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors and High Commissioners, Chief Executives and partners from the oil companies and the energy companies, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, greetings and best wishes from the President of the Republic of Uganda, who I'm representing today. He's unable to come, but he has sent me to represent him. And I'm going to read his speech. On behalf of government and the people of Uganda, I welcome you to yet another edition of the Uganda International Oil and Gas Summit. This is the 8th edition of the conference being held under the theme Uganda's Oil and Gas Revolution, Harnessing Opportunities, Overcoming Challenges, and Creating a Sustainable Future. This year's summit is happening at a crucial time when we are beginning to witness the fruits of our strategic patience and hard work in the oil and gas sector. Last year, I told you that the much anticipated final investment decision for Uganda's oil and gas projects had been announced, laying a foundation for development works leading to first oil. I'm glad that the projected investment and jobs for Ugandans are being realized. In January this year, I launched the speeding start of production drilling in the Kingfisher Development Project, and the drilling is progressing very well. Drilling in the Teringa has commenced, and we are set for first oil in 2025. The required infrastructure for production and commercialization of the oil is being developed, including the central processing facility in the fields, the East Africa crude oil pipeline, and the refinery. The ongoing projects are set to exploit 6 billion barrels of oil, of which 1.4 billion barrels is recoverable. This is over an area covering 40% of the total area that has been discovered to have this natural resource. It therefore means that the Albertine Graben is still available for exploitation. We also have other basins like Moroto, Kadam, Choga, and Hoima Basin, which will soon be ready for exploitation. I encourage the oil companies to undertake more exploitation in the country. As we continue exploiting
people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
This Africa is Talking Summit 2024 has actually been of great impact to African development, because this is a tech summit where young developers in our developer ecosystem have had a chance to interact and learn from the industry experts who actually understand where the development in technology, especially in Africa, is headed. So it's presented them an opportunity to now go back and build solutions that they've actually identified the gaps during this summit in technology. These solutions will be brought to the marketplace and they'll be able to now solve a lot of these problems that we experience in Africa.
This summit has really been amazing, just looking at how it has brought people from different organizations, different backgrounds, just coming together to create new ideas, build new technology for Africa. That alone shows that we are working towards the best, and I am looking forward to what is to come.
For me, it's about answering the needs of Africa. And as Africa is talking, we are trying to support the innovations that will answer this problem. So we are at the point where we are positioning ourselves to help developers to be able to innovate to solve those problems. So this summit has brought together experts from different fields, different countries, and different expertise. So it's been a very engaging session where we have experts, we have people who are learning, a lot of networking, a lot of exchanges, and yeah, it's been amazing.
So I believe the Summit 2025 is a place to start and encourage the young people, the people at the lowest stage, to grow and build for Africa.
I know definitely it may not be in Uganda, but it will bring together a bigger group of developers and industry experts and even business leaders and entrepreneurs.
I think the tech industry is going to grow huge. I think in the next 5-10 years, we are going to have amazing stuff. We are going to have things that we have not seen before. And I'm really excited because I am seeing what the young minds are coming up with.
So just based on how this 2024 summit has been, I can't wait. I know it will be bigger, it will be better, and it can only get better from here. And we are looking forward to even bringing in more experts, more developers, more partners, more customers in the next session. So you should plan to be there.
Basically, innovating for Africa means that we are coming up with new ideas to make Africa better in the future.
As Africa is talking, we are looking at innovating around just answering to the needs of the people of Africa and ensuring that Africa is growing to where it needs to be.
To me, I look at it from an opportunity because with the software engineering, they have ability to really build solutions that will innovate Africa.
Welcome to the CEO Bench. My name is Eddie Okila, and my guest this morning on the CEO Bench is a businessman, is an entrepreneur, is a philanthropist, and a social activist. He speaks a lot about youth empowerment across Africa and across the continent. And he's been a man around Africa in oil and gas industry. He's done it all. And he's here with us this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening on the CEO Bench, depending on where you're coming from and which part of the world you're actually watching this program from. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you Emperor Chris Baywood Ibe. Emperor, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Eddie. It's nice to be here with you. It's quite a very pleasant day, and I'm ready for you.
All right, if you're joining us from anywhere in the world, I'd like to bring a very small profile of Emperor Chris to you. Emperor Chris is, like I said, is an entrepreneur and, of course, a philanthropist, a social activist. He is from a state in Nigeria known as Iwusu Awa. Enugu State.
So I'm from Enugu State. That's the southeastern part of Nigeria.
Okay, let's talk about that. Now that you've talked about it, who is Emperor Chris?
Just a young man, little unknown, but known. Like the introduction goes with, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a social activist, and I'm a mentor of youths. I've been around. I'm a business guy. I take interest in anything that will make the world safe and better place. I'm a family man with 4 kids, and I'm from a family of 8. I'm the 3rd. So Chris Baywood has been around, like you captured in your intro. Yeah. I've been around Africa, from Western Africa, where I come from, because I'm from the ECOWAS region of the Sub-Saharan Africa. I've been around East Africa. I've been around the SADC region, that is Southern Africa. I think where it's missing is Central Africa. So, yeah. And I'll tell you, because I take a lot of interest in Africa, because I'm a Pan-African. I love Africa. I breathe Africa. I talk Africa.
Wow.
Yes. So this is why most of my business interest is trying to, tap the opportunities and the potentials that are in Africa, because I believe that's one of Africa, like I always tell people, is the remaining frontier. So I don't know what I'm going to look for in Europe or what I'm going to look for in North America that they cannot find in Africa. Wow. So this is who Emperor Chris Baywood Ibe is.
Well, if you're joining us from anywhere across the world, that's Emperor Chris Baywood Ibe talking to us on the CEO Bench. He is the CEO and the president of the Baywood Group. And the Baywood Group has offices all across Africa and Europe, and we're going to know, and in South America, I think, we're going to know, North America, and we're going to know a lot more about that on the CEO Bench. But we want to start the discussion, Emperor Chris Baywood, from a point of leadership. A lot of people are doing great stuff across Africa, and sometimes those who are doing great stuff across Africa is not known to us. Sometimes we don't know the talent we have, but we have been looking at your profile, and I want to start from a more personal note of knowing you from what is leadership to you and what is self-leadership to you?
Well, it depends on where you're coming from. Leadership, are you talking about political? Are you talking about human leadership or human capital? But generally, leadership is being this man that sets the directives, or rather sets the process in motion, a thought out process, and you follow this process and you walk your talk, because it's not about the leadership. It's not just okay, this is how we're going to do it, and perhaps you set the process in place, but you're doing contrary. So leadership, they say, starts with you. And so if you want to talk about business leadership, how to go about the business, it has to be seen on the way you conduct your own business. And don't forget that they always say that the greatest asset you have in every organization is human beings. So leadership starts with you and how you interact with the people around you. Even in your home. The truth is, if you're not able to lead your home very well, you can't lead anything else.
Wow.
Yeah, I think if you have a broken home, let's put it this way. If you're not able to manage your home very well and put your home in a good pedestal where everybody seems to be aligned with you, I would doubt it very much if you have a good set of mind to lead any other organization, be it in business, be it in social arrangement, be it in what they call CSO world. So CSO was the social community social organization. So I know. So for me, leadership starts with you, and this is what I have set the example for myself. And whatever I do, I have to do it right. I know the principles that guides it. I know the policies. You have to have the right policy framework, and this policy framework has to be seen to be working according to the way you have said it. And it's by example. You say one thing and do another. So this is exactly for me leadership. Leadership is that quality you have to lead others, and others will look at you and emulate you and follow you through and through because they believe in you. So first of all, you have to buy the confidence of the people. All right? And this is what I'm saying. If in your home, you can't get the confidence of your children, for example, daddy comes home every time by 4 a.m. and then daddy messes around in the house, smokes, and everywhere is littered, or daddy drinks and is just so reckless with everything. You don't expect your child tomorrow. You tell your child, hey, listen, you must not come back anything later than 7 p.m. You can only say, yes, daddy, I hear. But do you think he's going to abide by that? Because you're already setting by a little bit. I mean, as for daddy's not at home. So leadership starts with you. And if you set that example, others will follow you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Emperor Chris Baywood. Take us back from growing up and getting to where you are today and who you are today. Some people out there may not know who you are today. They just think that this is like Barry White. This is soundist. Many people would mistake you to be Barry White. Many people.
Well, like I always tell people, I'm a man with different shades of colors. Positive. So I think I meet positive vibes. I think I meet positive vibes. Because I've read quite a lot. I've read quite a lot of books that teaches on positive energy. Yeah. You have to love yourself first. Yeah. So it's quite captivating, and it's quite them. You can read certain things, and they have certain information that might send negative vibes. So for me, I always look at the positive vibes for everything. Necessary. I come as a very as an activist when it's necessary. I come as a lover of life. Socially, I describe myself as a social butterfly. Yes, my face turns you up because I'm serious in my business, okay? When it's that moment, I face it. And when it's time to have fun and just drop my guard, I drop my guard and then come down from my high horse so I can relate with the people at this level. Because if you don't do that, you'll be alone. You'll be left alone. Yeah. All right? Yeah. One of the biggest challenges we have, rich people have, or the wealthy people have, is loneliness. Yeah. And why? When you can't come down from your high horse, right? Yeah. To relate with the people at the level, you'll be alone. Yeah. From a family of 8 and number 3, I would say from a mid-average family, coal miner, He worked in the coal corporation because in my state, main exchange earner, foreign exchange earner for Nigeria was